Hello everyone. My name's Ellen. I am FSU's account manager here at WARC. So I will be your go-to contact for all things WARC related, whether that be any research that I can help with, any platform questions at any time, or anything logistical, technical on the platform. I will be your person here. So please do not hesitate to reach out at any time. That is why I am here to help you all make the most out of the service. And just to give you all some background on the platform for those that may not be familiar with WARC or may not have used the platform before, but WARC stands for World Advertising Research Center. And we are actually under the umbrella, as you kind of see from these images here, we have our Lions Intelligence umbrella. So that includes us here at WARC and then our sister companies, which are Can Lions and Contagious. And then we also recently acquired Effie as well. So we are really all about saving the world from ineffective marketing. That's what we do specifically here at WARC. So what we really mean by that is arming you with the best practices, data, what's working, what's not working in terms of the industry so that you can feel confident in your marketing decisions so that they really make an impact, whether that be commercially or really the whatever results that you want to achieve through your marketing efforts. And then with that as well, we really fuel that with creativity to help you achieve growth within your marketing as well. So you'll kind of see that marketing effectiveness piece and also that creative effectiveness piece as well. And really how we do that specifically is we have two main sources of information where we get all of our evidence and insights from. So you can always scroll down here and look at our partners page. So about 40% of our content we supply will come directly from, we partner with about like 50 plus industry organizations. So you can see definitely some major players in the industry. And if you do want to kind of see the content from these organizations specifically, you can click in here and it will take you to that content directly. And then about the other 60% comes from, we have our own in-house editorial team here at WARC. So they will be attending various industry events and reporting on those, conducting surveys, interviews. So that is kind of how we supply our information here to make sure that it is all evidence-based and unbiased. And then the platform is broken down into three main sections here, but I'll kind of go back to the homepage before we dive into each section. So if you go back to the homepage, I always like to point out the feed here first. So this will come in the form of a daily newsletter. So if you aren't already subscribed to our newsletter, you can go up here to this icon and go to updates here. And then once you see this page, this will allow you to get our WARC newsletter here. So that will be a daily email that goes to your inbox and it will update you on anything that's new and noteworthy in terms of industry updates. And then of course, our own updates here at WARC with new content. If we have any kind of webinars, podcasts, things like that. So definitely recommend getting that just to stay updated on everything. And then that's where our feed will come in with those quick couple minute reads to update you on anything that's new. But that will also be available if we go back always on the platform here. So you can access that through the newsletter and the platform directly. And then if we scroll past that, we do have our trending section here. So that will be our most read across the entirety of the platform globally. So these are always very, very timely reads, and definitely recommend kind of checking these out from time to time if you may not know where to start. But kind of how I like to start off my search here before we dive into the three main areas. If you're coming in kind of fresh and need answer to a research question, or you need evidence to support your kind of strategies, I would go to this more section here. And you'll see that you can browse by topics, categories, and then if you are looking for insights into a particular region, you can narrow down by geographies as well. But I'll go with the topics and categories page just so you can see kind of the wide range that we cover here on the platform. So I definitely find myself in these pages a ton when I am conducting a search, for example, for a client. So anything on, brands and branding, like best practices on challenger brands, or creating a brand or relaunch, that will all be within this section. We have consumer and audience data and insights. And so I definitely find myself in here a lot as well, whether that be like B2B audiences, if you are working with kind of B2B companies, consumer attitudes. I know everyone loves Gen Z, and it's definitely focused on that quite often. So we have a whole page on that. Shopper insight. So definitely those are always great areas to kind of get up to speed on different audiences. Here we have that creativity piece, as I mentioned. So if you're looking for best practices on using kind of different types of creative within your campaign, so using things like emotion and humor, even down to things like imagery and packaging, we have all of that in here. And then, of course, all things AI. Of course, we all want to know kind of how to implement AI within the industry. So we do have kind of those best practices all within this section, which has been super, super helpful kind of with the evolution of AI. And then if you want just kind of overall arching, like what's working in the industry, you can go to this effectiveness page here. And I think that's also kind of a great place to just kind of get up to speed on general overarching best practices. And then down to marketing management. So kind of more so maybe for the business folks at the university. So brand management, client agency relationships, pricing strategy, all of that good stuff. And then anything that you may want, like media wise or media related. Let's say you're looking to see what types of media might work best in a particular campaign, or how other agencies and brands are using different media channels or consuming different types of media. You can select the particular channel. We have them all laid out here. And then even media planning, so kind of planning your media stack, what types of media are going to work best together, and even measuring those effects and results as well. Research methods, so definitely I think this could be a great area as well for folks, for you all at the university. So things like conducting qualitative and quantitative research will give you all the best practices on that. And then strategy and account planning too. So how to build creative briefs, things like that. And then if we go into the categories page, it'll be similar, but just show you all of the categories that we cover across the platform if you are looking for insights that are category specific. So we do often come out with reports on kind of the state of a category, for example. So kind of like what's happening in the alcoholic drink space, or automotive. So if you're ever kind of wanting that full landscape picture of a category, we often do have those reports. And I think we do have a lot of like Euromonitor reports. That's one of our partners. So those are always kind of great to get up to speed on different categories. But to kind of show you what these look like, for example, go to like clothing and accessories. And the topics page, if you click into that, will look the same as this as well. But essentially, this will give you every single piece of content that is related to the topic or category across the platform. And you all do have access to the entirety of the platform, so nothing should be locked or blocked off. If it is, definitely let me know. But then you can kind of filter down with these filter areas here. So I'll often use these if, let's say, I want to look at a case study within the clothing category. So I can filter by case studies or articles if I want more of like a best practice piece or an opinion piece from one of our partners. So you can kind of filter by content type. And then if you are looking within a specific location, you can do that. Or I often use this search within tab as well. You can search within a specific term. So let's say, I'm looking for social media examples within the clothing and fashion category. So I could type in that, for example. So definitely, I definitely recommend kind of starting with these topics and categories pages, just to narrow down your search and get to what you're looking for most easily. But it's definitely why I am here as well. If you ever have trouble finding anything, I'm always happy to go through the platform and help you find the relevant insights. And then, of course, we also have the search bar here, and you can just search by a term. I would definitely keep this kind of short and sweet to get down to the point there. And then there is an advanced tool too if you want to get more detailed in your search. But going back to the home page here, we'll dive into the three main areas of the platform. So again, that's strategy, creative, and media. The strategy section, all of our clients have to have access to this because this is really kind of how we started the platform, and this is where like a lot of our insights live here on the site. And what kind of how we started here at WARC in particular, our bread and butter, as we call it, are our case studies. I think we have almost like 30,000, maybe. Okay, yeah. So around 30,000 case studies on the platform currently. And these will be from different award organizations that we partner with. And of course, we feature like the Cannes Lions Creative Effectiveness Awards. We do have our own WARC awards for effectiveness. So we have all of those entrants and winners from our own award show here on the platform. And then we have our Effie case studies as well. So I'll go back to this case finder in a second, but if you do ever want to find a case study within a particular award show, you can go under this case study tab and go under partner award case studies. And then it'll give you the organizations that we work with. So I will click into Effie since that's kind of our newest partner. And then this will be broken down regionally, but we'll click on North America, for example, here. I will say we are slowly adding Effie's library of case studies to the platform. So we definitely don't have all of them yet. We have over 1,300 right now for North America specifically. But again, these will all be from Effie. And just to give you an example of kind of what these look like here, You'll notice that some are and some are longer, and that's just because we don't change anything about how they were submitted to the particular award show. So you know that everything here has not been manipulated or anything. But essentially, it will give you like a summary and then kind of break down the challenge and the strategy behind the campaign. And of course, go into the results, because we always want to know that. And then sometimes it will give you like the creative assets, if they use any visuals, videos, as you can see here. But I know a lot of our clients utilize these to really just look at what other agencies and brands are doing in terms of their campaigns and kind of to craft their own case study award entries as well. So kind of see like the best in class award winning work and how they can tailor their work accordingly. And of course, this will be great for you all just to kind of see the breakdown of a campaign and to kind of learn about the strategy and everything that goes into creating an award-winning campaign. But if we go back to the case finder, you can also narrow down again by category specific. A lot of the times, this campaign objectives is where I like to navigate. So let's say you are looking for a campaign that is demonstrating sales growth or brand loyalty or wanted to increase traffic to their store, things like that. You can click on these objectives here, and that will give you all the campaigns that have focused on these. Or a particular media channel, if you want to see how a campaign utilized TV or out of home, social media, you can select by media source or even target audience. So a lot of times I'll go in here and I know a lot of people will ask, like, can you give me examples on small and medium-sized companies or a different economic class, things like that. So all different ways to kind of narrow down your campaign search. So that is the case finder tool. And then we also, this is where our best practice pieces live, and then our hubs over here. So our best practice pieces are ways to really just get up to speed on macro and micro topics within the industry and various audiences, media channels, and just topics again. But a piece that I like to start with a lot of the times is our anatomy of effectiveness. And that is really going to go into kind of the 5 building blocks for effective marketing. So you can kind of see those here, and there will be a chapter on each of these building blocks. So there's a whole white paper that you can dive into. And I think this is just a great place to start to kind of, because we build all of our content kind of around this guide, if you will. But then if you scroll down here, these are the evidence decks that accompany each chapter of the paper. And these are some of our most popular pieces on the platform because these are always timely, always kind of relevant in the industry. So things like investing, balancing your spend, planning for reach, creativity. So all of that. And then these will kind of be in the form of like a 25 minute deck. And we do have a lot of like how to balance short-term and long-term. That's definitely always a huge topic that's top of mind for a lot of our clients. But these are great because they'll kind of give you a summary and then just go into all of the evidence behind kind of advocating for the long and the short term. So all of these will kind of look similar to that. And then we have our work guides and what we know about what's working in pieces. Our work guides and what's working in will be more of a deck format. And these are where we take normally like a micro topic in the industry, and we will pack these full of different research studies from our partners, different case study examples, really all of the things that you need to know to support kind of your arguments and strategy. So our latest one is the guide to making the case to the C-suite. So I think could be a great guide for those kind of in the business world, but of course in marketing as well, because we know often it's kind of hard to justify marketing spend, and a lot of our clients kind of have to tackle that on a day-to-day basis, especially kind of within this economic climate that we've been navigating for the last few years. So these are some of our longest pieces of content. As you can see, it's almost like a 60-minute read, but our clients will often download these. So you can download as a PDF with this button here, and then they will kind of reference it again and again. I don't think it's necessarily kind of a one-time read, but again, it'll kind of lay out the key topics and areas, key takeaways, and then it will be packed with all the evidence that you really need. And then these, as you can see, these hyperlinks here, you can always click into these to kind of dive deeper into the case study that they're showing or the research study. And these will either be from our partners that I mentioned earlier, or from our own research that might take you to different areas of the platform or different pieces of content within the platform specifically. Or again, it might take you to our outside partners' websites, and oftentimes you can still kind of dive deep into them. Sometimes you might hit a paywall, but it just depends. So that's kind of our work guides. And then, as mentioned, the what's working in will be a similar format to them, but will be a little bit shorter form content. But our latest one is what's working in brand revitalization. And as you can see, 25-minute read here. So these will be more micro topics, but similar format, similar evidence and case studies all packed in here as well. But if you want something kind of quick and short and sweet to get up to speed quickly, this is what we use our What We Know About articles for. And these are about anywhere from like 10 to 15-minute reads, but these are just great to kind of go through, kind of see like the main points that you need to know about a topic, a media channel, or an audience segment. So I'll show you an example of what this looks like. Kind of going back to that, like using emotion in your campaign. So laying out all the best practices and things that you need to know about that. So it'll give you kind of key definitions and insights. And then these are great as well because you can get up to speed quickly, but then there's also the opportunity to dive deeper with all of the hyperlinks. And then these always have a more on this topic at the bottom that you can go into for deeper reading as well. And then kind of lastly, a few more things to point out within strategy. So we have this multiplier effect area, which this is a piece that I would also recommend any new folks to the platform to check out. We came out with this at the beginning of this year, and as I mentioned a little bit earlier, that debate on um, kind of the long and short of marketing, that brand versus performance debate, if you will. This is all kind of around merging those two together and kind of all the evidence and details that we have behind that. And we created this paper in partnership with other organizations that we work with. But this is definitely like a hallmark piece, and we've been getting tons of great feedback on this piece. And I know different clients have been utilizing this within their agencies and brands. So definitely a great piece to check out here. And then we've been releasing some kind of accompanying supplemental pieces as well as podcasts and webinars, which I'll kind of show you how to access those too. And then also in here, if you need anything in terms of sustainability, or we even have a whole economic slowdown section here. So everything you need to know about marketing or conducting business within kind of these slower economic times. Anything that you may need on DEI. And then we just had our Cannes Lions Festival a few weeks ago. So we have our programming that you can check out and watch directly here on the platform. And we do have a summary report of the festival and kind of every kind of the key learnings from the festival. So this a great place to check out too. And then also something I think would be great is if I can get it, the strategy toolkit. So this is if perhaps you're a student and you want to get up to speed on kind of the marketing essentials, kind of really like the building blocks of marketing. These are a set of self-guided modules, and they are about like 20 minutes to go through each of them. But I think this is great just for your own learning, or if you are a professor and kind of want to assign your students to kind of go through these modules as an assignment. These are really great for that. So that is really everything in strategy. And then we'll go into creative and media. So creative, as I mentioned previously, we know that we have a ton of evidence that creativity leads to the most effective marketing impacts. And so that's why we kind of created a whole area on the platform for that. And there's kind of been a gray area within the industry on kind of what types of creative work best within campaigns, or really how to utilize creativity within a campaign in terms of like the media channels that you're using, the budget, things of that nature. And so here, our kind of three main buckets will be our rankings, our creative effectiveness planner and ladder, and our best practice pieces. So our rankings, this is another really great benchmark tool to utilize to kind of, again, see like real life campaigns and where they are ranked in terms of media effectiveness, creative effectiveness, and then just overall marketing effectiveness, as you can see. So three main areas for the rankings. And you can go into the methodology to kind of see how we go about ranking these campaigns, but they're from 1 to 100 in these three categories. And we take the award shows that we use for these from the previous year. So you can kind of see like the methodology of how we select the award shows that we include in here. And then we will rank them from 1 to 100. And you can actually see so we'll go to the Creative 100, for example. So you can see a breakdown of the top campaigns. Or let's say you want to break it down from an agency perspective or a brand perspective or a regional perspective, you can do that as well. So we'll go into this one, for example. This is actually one of my clients that I work with. But you can see the creative assets. So as you can see, like the video, some of the imagery. And then some of them you can dive into the full campaign. So this one, it looks like you're not able to do that, just giving you kind of more of the creative assets. But let's see if this one may have the full campaign. So again, a lot of the creative assets. Okay, this one doesn't have it either, but you'll see an option. It'll be probably more towards the bottom and it'll say go to the full campaign. So again, another great way to kind of see what other agencies and brands are doing, compare performance. And then the Creative Effectiveness Planner and Ladder, I think this is a great tool for both professors and students because this is a way that you can kind of take a campaign or like an example of a campaign and use this tool to kind of plan out what's going to be most effective in terms of your creative. And so how this works, we actually developed this in partnership with Cannes Lions, and we utilized their library of case studies to develop this. And we found that you can actually kind of plan your creative and it will have you answer a set of questions. And the metrics that it's going to measure on will be the campaign duration, the media channels used, and then the campaign budget. And so it'll have you answer a series of questions based on that. Again, you can kind of play around with it and kind of make a fake campaign, if you will, just for practice purposes. But it'll give you a score from 3 to 15, and then you'll take that score and it'll correspond to a particular rung on this ladder. And so it goes from the least commercially impactful campaigns to the most commercially impactful campaigns that measure the effectiveness of it. And so wherever you stand on the ladder, it's actually going to give you examples of real life campaigns that we've ranked using this ladder to kind of show where you stand. But then we'll also give you like the best practices and strategies to utilize to kind of reach higher on the ladder as well. So a great tool to definitely play around with. And I know a lot of professors kind of utilize this for assignments and things like that. So I definitely recommend that tool. And then otherwise in this area, we have our best practice pieces. So these will be similar to the ones that I pointed out within G, but just tied toward creative, of course. And if you do kind of want more background about how we developed the Creative Effectiveness Ladder and Planner, I would check out this effectiveness code here that will go into that, as well as this creative commitment guide. And then we actually even have like a B2B effectiveness one that we've recently released as well. But then you'll see you can dive into individual campaigns and we'll kind of show you the breakdown of why it was successful. And then we'll just kind of have overall best practices and reports. We often do like summary reports on the rankings. And then you'll see kind of like the larger form reports down here. And then we'll go into media next. So this is really where all of our media data lives. And then we do have more great best practice pieces tied to media, and then some benchmark data as well. But we do have data on advertising spend, media consumption, and media costs. We work with our various industry partners to gather this data, but we do have our own in-house data science that will actually analyze and manipulate the data to what you're seeing on the platform. So for more insight into that, you can always check out this methodology page to kind of see how that's conducted and the various partners that we work with to obtain this data. But the interactive data section is great. These will all look similar. So I'll go into media consumption, for example. So if you're wanting to look at, what is Gen Z consuming with their media, or, a different demographic you can look at. So you can filter, or I think you might have to change this first. So you can look at a different region. So maybe you want to stick with global, and then you can look at the frequency of the data, whether that be annual or quarterly, the demographic, as I mentioned. So let's say I want to do 16 to 24, and then the media channels that you want to see the data on. So let's say audio, we can do like online audio and podcasts, and then the date range. So let's say I want to go to 24, 2025, and then it's going to produce some data for you. So this is just looking at, the global market singularly, but you can actually kind of compare across multiple markets if you use this tool, and it will all produce on the same chart. But it'll give you like different averages and things like that. So just a great way to kind of manipulate and have a great visual of the media data sets with these interactive charts. And then the benchmarks, this will be mainly on ad spend, but as you can see, we do have like some media cost data as well. And then our reports and insights, we go into our global ad trends report. So this again will kind of take like a macro topic within the industry, but specifically related to media. So our latest one is all about news and looking at advertising within this media channel. But then you can see we've done things like on podcasts and even like baby boomers media consumption, gaming. So those are all great to look into. And then if you are wanting kind of particular insights within a platform, we have those available as well. So you can see even like retail media like Amazon, TikTok, different social media channels, and we'll give you kind of everything you need to know if you are utilizing these channels within your marketing. And you'll see we have retail media data in here as well, because we used to have a digital commerce area of the platform. That is no longer a separate area, and we have since merged all of those insights and data into the media section. So you'll not only see media channels, but also retail media and digital commerce as well. And then finally, just to quickly wrap up, I just wanted to point out, if you go to this more section here, I like to point out our WARC talks, because we do have a podcast and we have webinars. So podcasts is available directly on the platform, but also on Spotify, Apple Music, really wherever you may listen to your podcasts, and our webinars as well. So this could be a great tool. Maybe you want to show this as a lecture or just kind of get up to speed on your own time. Maybe you're sick of reading a bunch of content, so could listen to a podcast or watch a webinar, and we have all of those available directly. But that is essentially a high-level overview of WARC. Again, I am available for any support, questions, things that you may need. And if ever you would like me to come into your class to conduct a walkthrough or training like this, I'm always available for that as well.